Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to be a little busy on Thursday, so I am making this recording so that you will not be by yourself. If this video is a little different than what you're used to, this is the best that I can do. Hang in there. When I played this back and I tried this process before, my mouth and the words might be off just a little bit, but do the best that you can. Remember, this is better than anything else I can do for you. So hopefully you have a copy of the notes, and I have a copy of the notes here. If you haven't got a copy of the notes, please ask the substitute teacher for a copy of the notes, and you can follow along if you need to while we do these things. So this is the first video, and I'm hoping it introduces to you. I'll be playing several key videos and teach you about quadratic equations in vertex form. So let's get started here. Your homework is going to be worksheet 1 through 18 all. I actually want you just to do the odds. Some of you may need to practice all of them, and don't be afraid to do extra if you need to. So, quadratic equations. Let's get started on that. Just so you know, quadratic equations, why are they called quadratic equations anyways? They're called quadratic equations because in every quadratic there is a variable that is squared. And when you think about a square, how many sides does a square have? Hopefully you know that a square has 4 sides, and that's why they call this a quadratic, because you have something with a squared term. Quadratic equations have one variable squared and are graphed as a parabola, which have 2 parts. The 2 parts that you are going to have to know. So if this is my parabola right here. Here's my parabola. I'm tracing it in red. I need to know what the vertex is, and I also need to know what the line, otherwise known as the axis of symmetry, is. The vertex is either the lowest point of the parabola, the minimum value, we could use the word minimum for that. It's the absolute bottom. If there was a marble and it was on the inside of the parabola, it would go all the way to the bottom. That is the vertex. The vertex is the lowest point. But if the parabola is the other direction, the vertex is the highest point. So the vertex of this red parabola is -2, 1. That's the vertex right there. It's the minimum of a parabola that opens upward. It's the maximum of a parabola that opens downward. So for this one, the vertex is at 0, -2. So if you know that, you know the vertex, that's one part that you're going to need to know. The other part is this thing called a line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is basically, if I were to be able to take a dotted line halfway through the parabola and fold one side, this side, over to the other side. If I were to take this and pretend this was a piece of paper, which it is, and fold the paper over, it would line up on itself. It's symmetrical about this line. Well, this is a point. The vertex is a point, so I have the xy. That's why there's parentheses. And remember what I've told you, parentheses means that there's an x and a y. But for this, since this is a vertical line, we have to write it with an x equals equation. So when I look at this vertical line, the idea is you know that this is at -1, -2. This is where x equals -2. This is the line of symmetry, otherwise known as the axis of symmetry. The line of symmetry here is x equals -2. It's basically a nice little shortcut is if I know what the x coordinate is of my vertex, I will know what the axis of symmetry is. So that means for this other parabola that's facing downwards right here, its axis of symmetry or line of symmetry is the line x equals 0. That's the line of symmetry. It's not a dotted line because you can't see it because it's on the axis, but there it is. So here's what I want you to do on your whiteboards. I'm going to draw a parabola. Here's a parabola. I just drew a new one. I want you to figure out what is the vertex and what is the axis of symmetry, or the line of symmetry. Doesn't matter how I ask it. And make sure over here, I would get the line of symmetry wrong if I just wrote -2. I have to have x equals -2 for this to be correct. So make sure you have x equals in the answer. Otherwise, you're going to get it wrong on the quiz and the test. Okay? What's the line of symmetry and the axis of symmetry? And this is the end of video 1.